There is something to be said about setting stretch goals, sometimes called big, hairy, audacious goals, basically goals that you don't intend to hit. Things that are so far out of reach that they are forcing you to really stretch yourself to be able to get there. Now, these are pretty much the opposite of SMART goals, which are all about being attainable and realistic. But there is a time and a place to set them. So I want to talk a little bit about how to know whether or not you're in the right place to set stretch goals and whether or not you should be focusing on something else instead, particularly the MTO method that helps you move up towards stretch goals. I'm Tara Wagner, breakthrough coach and lifelong entrepreneur. I help my fellow entrepreneurs to master the mindset and the skills necessary to crush their goals, not their soul. If that sounds like your jam, give this video a thumbs up and then check out the others on my channel as well. Also, if you're struggling to reach your goals, be sure to check out the free 5-day Get Out of Your Own Way challenge linked in the description below. So why would anybody want to set a goal they know they can't reach? It kind of goes like this. Small goals equals small progress. Big, hairy, audacious stretch goals equals way more progress. It's sort of like that quote, if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you still land among the stars, or however it goes. It's this idea of if you shoot high, you're gonna end up higher than if you shoot just at a moderate, realistic level. So I'm a big fan of stretch goals. I'm constantly setting them for myself, but they're not always a good fit. They're not right for all businesses, and they're not right for all seasons of business. So let's talk about how you can know whether or not a stretch goal is appropriate for where you're at right now. So when you should utilize stretch goals is when you have a healthy mindset. So this means you're feeling confident, you're handling challenges and stress well, you're bouncing back from things quickly, you feel positive, you've cultivated a growth mindset. Also, if you're already making progress, and the reason for this is that you want to be capitalizing on the momentum that you already have. Stretch goals are also a good fit for you if you have the time and the resources to really go for it. And this means you have the skill, you have the talent, you have the help, you have the support, you have the strategy in place. Basically, all the pieces are in place and now you can really run with it. So when do you not want to set stretch goals? This is especially true if you are struggling with clarity, if you are not yet getting good results with something. So this means you are testing things out, you're still kind of fine-tuning your marketing or sales process, you don't have your numbers where you want them to be yet. If you don't have a proven system that's already converting, or if you're struggling with mindset, you're struggling with motivation, with focus, with confidence, you're struggling with fixed beliefs. Also, if you're struggling with revenue, cash flow, or resources, basically you don't have enough to spare to be able to put some extra energy into this goal. So essentially, if you're doing good right now, it's time to stretch yourself. And if you're doing so-so, or you're kind of shaky, or you're not doing so well right now, it's time to pace yourself. You gotta kind of look at this like rocket fuel. If your jet is in good shape, that rocket fuel is gonna help you take off and actually reach your destination. But if the wings of your jet are rickety and fallen off and held together with duct tape, that rocket fuel is gonna make everything fall apart. Stretch goals are only appropriate if the wheels aren't gonna fall off when you start picking up speed. It's sort of like with money, right? Money amplifies what's already there. If a negative person gets a lot of money, it's gonna bring out that negativity. If a positive person gets a lot of money, it's gonna bring out those character traits. If your business gets a lot of push behind it, but it's not ready for it, it's gonna bring out all of the problems within your business. Even if your business is in good shape, you can expect your stretch goals to show you where your weaknesses are. Because again, when you start putting rocket fuel in something and things start getting a little shaky, you're gonna notice what parts and pieces start to fall off. Comment below with rocket fuel if all of this is making sense to you. And the question that you might be having right now is, okay, what do I do if I'm not quite there yet? Maybe I'm in the middle of really shaky and really ready to run, or maybe I'm really shaky, but I want to get to the place where I can really run with it. What do I do instead? This is where I recommend that you use the MTO method or set MTO goals. What this is 3 goals that are kind of like incremental steps up. So you have your minimum goal, that's your M, your T is your target goal, and your O is your outrageous goal or your stretch goal. Now your minimum goal should be just barely above where you are. In fact, when it's minimum, you pretty much are guaranteed that you're gonna hit it. You know, no matter what, in the next 90 days, I can hit this goal. This is my minimum. However, I'm gonna shoot for this target. This is a little bit of a stretch goal, but it's not taking me too far outside of my comfort zone. It's gonna require that I increase some skills or that I focus on some things, but it's probably realistic. So this is where I'm gonna aim for, and that way I know that I'm definitely gonna hit my minimum and I'm gonna get pretty close to my target. I'm gonna have this outrageous goal because if something happens, if I get a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of support, the right tools fall into place, I wanna know where I can put it to bring me towards that next goal. So your outrageous goal is like, if you really blow it out of the water, what would that look like? The MTO method is something that I use a lot in the inner circle because it helps us take those incremental baby steps, building up our mindset, building up our belief in ourselves, and building up our skills as we go along. It's also giving us that ultimate vision so that we make sure the little tiny goals that we're setting now are still aligning with where we wanna go in the future, right? It's sort of like pointing a needle. If you wanna go this way, but this little goal is actually pointing this way, that's not gonna be very helpful. But if you know that you wanna point this way, you can make sure your baby goals are actually pointing in that direction, putting you on the trajectory to reach that outrageous goal over time. So you can use the MTO method in any number of settings. You can use it when you are figuring out your financial goals. You can use it when you're figuring out how much you want to do or what your results are gonna be in a year's time. You can set it in terms of different time frames. So maybe your minimum is, I want to reach this goal in 1 month versus 3 months versus 6 months. That would actually be turned around the other way. The outrageous would be 1 month versus 3 months versus 6 months. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but I highly recommend you start using this method because again, it's just going to train you. Just like we're training those muscles, it's going to train you to be able to move in that direction, getting more and more confident in your ability to get there. Now, remember that video we were talking about a few weeks ago around the difference between outcome goals versus objective performance process goals? You can use the same MTO method with those goals as well. When you're setting these separate goals, set them as an MTO so that it allows you to incrementally make progress without losing motivation, without getting discouraged. Comment below with MTO method if you could see yourself using this, and let me know how you think it's gonna help you out. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. That helps me out a ton in the algorithm. And if you're brand new here, be sure to check out the other videos on my channel. I'll link some below to get you started, and consider subscribing for more. Fist bump in the comments if you made it to the end of this one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.